Hi, I'm Terry Gibbs, and I'm here again with another strategy on how to buy collectibles. Every week here on YouTube, I put a new video up on Tuesday nights showing you how to buy antiques and collectibles or about eBay. Buying and selling antiques and collectibles on eBay. And I got my start teaching people years ago. I wrote this book, 67 Strategies to Make Your Phone Ring with Anxious Sellers, how to get a constant stream of people to sell you their old toy trains. And I'm working on updating this, so we'll have an all new 2025 edition out for you, hopefully by September. Until then, you can get my books, How to Sell Antiques and Collectibles, on eBay. This is $14 for a printed manual like this. Or my other book, How to Write eBay Descriptions That Sell. This is $8. And again, this is a book that you can reference. This one tells you all about how to sell on eBay, any questions you might have. This is the section on taking pictures. You can just look right up and refer to it. And you can stick a piece of paper or something in so you can find your place. And that's what we're going to do now with this book, How to Get a Constant Stream of People to call you on the phone and sell you their toy trains. We're going to talk specifically, and this is the original first edition that I had my stepmother and English teacher go through and write notes and everything for the proofreading, but we're going to talk about this, right? And this little piece of paper right here, I have these printed. There's 6 to a sheet, and then they have them and they cut them. And I had the printer do this, and this was back in the 90s that I had it done. And he said, "How many you want?" And I said, 1,000. Well, he made 1,000 sheets and cut them up, so I got 6,000 of these. And I was figuring I'd get 1,000 total. So I made 1,000 or 6,000 of these back in 1990s, and I still have stacks of them. But anyway, I take this sheet to the train meets and put them out on the table, and I put them up by the front desk for the people on the welcoming table where they have literature. And they're great for that because they're cheap. And it basically says that I buy trains and I pay cash and I'll come to you. It's a simple message. But on the back of it, it says, I also pay cash for these. And it's got a whole list of toys and things, erector and construction sites, metal toy soldiers, Tonka and other large metal vehicles. And there's a whole list of them that I buy. And so so this started out just as something for me to give out instead of business cards, because they're cheaper than business cards. But what I learned was when I walk into somebody's house, after somebody calls me on the phone and says, "Hey, I got a train to sell," and I go to their house, I learned that if I walk in and I hand one of these to them and say, "Hey, this is all the other stuff that I buy. Do you got any of this stuff?" And I hand that to them and say, "Let me see the train," they'll go off and come back, right? One day I did this, and the woman went, "Oh, your paperweight." And they went off and came back with this wonderful cast iron truck. Now with the trains, the people are thinking about, "Well, we're going to sell the trains. What are the trains worth?" Well, the guy with the cast iron truck, which I sold for $500, to him, it was his dad's paperweight. So he didn't know what it was, so I was able to just take it, and as I bought the trains, just put it in with all the trains, pay him a couple $100 for the trains, and he was happy, right? With other people, things are interesting, and I'm going to tell you a specific story. Now, up here, in my kitchen, I have, these are Tonka trucks. That one right there is just a dump truck with a grader on it, early version. But right here in the corner, these 4, they say State Highway Department on them. They're from 1956 or 57, whatever. And those 4, I was in a garage, I handed one of these to the guy, and he's like, "Here, look at my trains," and he handed his wife the little thing. She was looking at it. She went off in the corner of the garage and was rooting around, and I'm looking at the trains, and then there was this big crashing noise. noise as she's dragging something out. And the guy's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So I'm getting my brother's trucks out. And so those 4 trucks, she had dragged them out in the back corner of the garage behind some crap. Was an actual box that said Tonka, and those were in it. And she dragged those out, and I gave her $100 for the 4 trucks in the box. And I bought her husband's trains, which today, 20 years later, I couldn't tell you what the trains were because I buy so much trains. But those, I still remember those. I sold the box for like $300 and kept the trucks because I like them. This truck right here, this is a 1955 Tonka fire truck. The 54 version did not have the little things on the cab, the emblem things or fancy things, and the 1956 one said TFD for Tonka fire truck instead of Mound fire truck. And this truck came the same thing, that I was buying trains from somebody, handed them this, and they went off and got that. That was also in the original box. It should have had a fire tanker, which had been lost, a water tank truck. But I sold the empty box for that and kept the truck. And that's pretty much where all of these came from. This one right here, down in Catalina, which is just north of Tucson, I was down there and I filled my van up with trains that had been packed into a separate garage out behind this property. And the guy comes up to me and goes, do you buy Tonka trucks? And I was like, yeah, and I threw it in the van. And he's like, okay, and he went off digging up more. I don't even think I added anything to the money. But that's where all of these came from. It's me handing people this piece of paper. This last one here, the Bank of America one, that's a Smith Miller that when I got that, and again, it's the same thing. I don't buy any of these trucks on eBay or at shows or anything. I just buy them at homes from the original owners. And all of these are from before 1960, except this one here, which has got the white walls, which might be from 62 or 63. But anyway, the green one, when I got that with a bunch of toys and trains that I was buying, I brought it home, and it's cool. The back locks up and all that. It's a Smith Miller made in Los Angeles about 1955. And with that, I looked it up on eBay. It's only worth $75. I figured I'll keep it, and it looks pretty good right there. And the terriblest thing, can you swing back this way? The worst thing about all this is that I was buying all these for years, and I was looking for a house. And then I moved into this house, and the idea was to have them in the garage, but that's packed full of trains that I'm buying to sell. And I have this giant kitchen, so I put them up here, and I have not got a single one of these trucks since I moved into this house 5 years ago. So it's just ruined. But I still give people this flyer when I walk into their house. And on Monday, I went to a guy's house, and I'm in his garage buying trains or looking at his trains, which again, he's got them all out on tables, which is a bad sign when you're buying trains like I do, because it means they researched them, they've had time to reconnect them. If they're just in boxes and I'm rooting through them on my knees in the garage, there's a higher likelihood of buying them. If they're out on tables set up in the garage, the likelihood goes down. But I'm looking at the trains, and the guy pulls out this big box, and it's full of these things. I don't really know what these are because I'm older, but the kids from the 80s and 90s, this is some kind of dinosaur. And I guess these guys with the poor aim ride on this. The box is probably worth more than the guy, but all the boxes are trash. This thing is like some kind of wing deal. It's like a giant one of these, right? And then this, I don't know if it has a back on it, but the guy goes in here, and there's like 100 of these guys, which these seem to be worth some money on eBay. And then because this was a huge box. There's this big Death Star station. This is kind of cool. And again, they ruined all the boxes by tearing them up. This one, I think this piece goes with it. And this stuff from the trains, this adds to the value of the set. Here's something, I don't know anything about this stuff, but it's called the Droid Factory. I guess they make droids there. And then I got this is that white thing. Oh, it's a different one. It's more pointy. This is a X-Wing fighter, see? And it flies. Oh, and the guy rides in it, and you got the R2 in the back, and there's a wood block. But with all of this, I bought the trains from the guy, Imperial Troop Transporter. Again, the box is ratty, but if it wasn't for the box, I wouldn't know what this thing is, because I'm not a Star Wars fan. But I have a whole box full of this stuff. And I got all of this because the guy said, "Do you buy Star Wars?" And I said, "I'll take it." And I made the deal with him on the trains and never said anything about the money on the Star Wars, because I don't know what it's worth. I don't want to offer $50 for all that. I'm sure it's worth more than that, but I don't want to offer $50 for that and then have them say, "Oh no, this little guy is worth $10,000 and miss out on the train." So I ended up just buying all the stuff and loading it in the car and leaving it. And that's where the money is on that. And that's this thing again, that I buy all kinds of toys. The guy goes, "Well, I don't have any of these old toys, but I got the Star Wars stuff that was my son's." And so the idea is that once you're in somebody's house, you need to buy everything you can get your hands on. And I could spend hours talking about all the interesting stuff that I bought, right? But I'm not going to do that. So right now, if you have a story about when you went out to buy something and then ended up getting more than you expected, share it below. And then keep coming back, because I'll have another story out of this book in 2 weeks. Thank you.